as someone who doesn't particularly like Rovo very much, I actually have 3 agents that I use almost every single day. I'm gonna go through and show you kind of my next agent that I use, which is creating Confluence action items from Confluence and putting them into Jira. Similar to the brain dump, but a little bit different. So I'm gonna pull up Confluence, and we run all of our meetings in Confluence. Pretty much a lot of what I do is also in Confluence, but a lot of times we'll jump in and be like, okay, let's run the meeting and drop down every action item that we have from the meeting and tag each relevant person to it. So it might look a little bit something like this. And the problem with this is that it lives inside of the Confluence tasks, but our team and myself may not look at this very often. It is kind of relevant. It might pop in here, once a week if I remember to, but really we're in Jira, we live in Jira, and we care about the tasks that are shown and stored inside of Jira. So we need to get this over to Jira and make sure that each person, based on the department that they're in, the information goes to that correct, relevant space inside of Jira. So it's kind of similar, and I'm gonna show you how I do this. And every prompt I actually create, I do through Rovo, specifically for Rovo. So I do it through Claude because for some reason, Claude is better at building prompts for Rovo than Rovo is on its own. So I'm gonna use my voice to text here again and just explain what I want with the Rovo agent. I want you to go through and create an agent for me, a prompt that I could give to Rovo, and it will essentially look at every action item on a page. And from there, it'll take those action items and based on who's assigned, it will put them into Jira with all the relevant information. We're gonna need to make sure we assign it to the correct person based on who the assignee is of the action item. Then we're gonna need to make sure to add a summary and maybe a light description if it makes sense. And if it's assigned to Josh, put it in the Dunder Mifflin space. If it's assigned to Selena, go ahead and put it into the marketing space. And the keys for that, just so you have that context, and I'm gonna pull up the keys right now. So for the Dunder Mifflin space, the key is DM. And then for the marketing space, I could have just looked at the work item, it's MAR. So that's my keys. That's exactly how we structure these spaces. And fairly simple, just give me the prompts. Don't do any research into my own environment because this is actually a different environment. I just need purely a prompt. Now that could have taken me 5 minutes to type out. Took me maybe a minute to talk through. And it's really because I was bouncing between a few things. So this voice to text saves me probably hours a day. And it's probably by far the biggest thing that I would recommend. Okay, so it gave me a full prompt here and gave me a couple of notes before using this. I left assignee matching logic generic, matched to their Jira account since I don't know your user Jira directory environment. So that should be fine. Let's see if Rovo can handle it. So basically all we need to do to create a prompt is head over to our apps, go to our studio, and this is how I would build an agent from scratch. Basically, I would go in here, I would click on agents, create an agent, Rovo agent, and I skip to the manual setup. I don't do any automated setup at all. I like to get the prompt from Claude and give it directly to Rovo. And here's my tip number 3. Once you paste this in, you're gonna be asked to add skills. I would actually avoid adding skills because for some reason, when I add skills, for example, we want to create a work item. There's multiple skills for this. There's create Jira issues with advanced configuration, and then there's create work item. And you might be thinking, what does that actually mean? So this one has like child work items, but then some of them only create the summary or edit the summary versus editing context fields. So my suggestion and tip here is actually just leave them blank and see what happens. From there, we could adjust and add more skills or tweak skills as we go. But for now, I'll just leave everything blank. And I'll call this Confluence task agent and hit publish. So once we publish this, it'll be available for us to use from pretty much anywhere. And now I could go into Rovo and find that particular agent that I just created. Let's see, it should be in here. Confluence task agent. I might need a refresh. Oh, there it is. It's already here. And all I could say, well, all I need to say is, run. It's going to take action and start reviewing everything that it has on the back end and hopefully give us the correct work items to actually create inside of Jira. Okay, so it's executing some JQL, going through. This should be pretty quick because it is fairly straightforward. And as long as it lands in the right spaces and has the context I need, I'm going to give this a thumbs up. And all I really did was voice dump what I wanted into Claude, get a prompt, paste it, and that agent took me a few minutes to build. And it's going to save me a ton of time every time that we run meetings inside of Jira. or inside of Confluence. Boom, we have one in DM and we have one in MAR, marketing, and both of those are created, assigned to Josh, assigned to Selena. There's a summary, there's even a link. So everything's there and we're good to go. We could even check in on Selena's work item here. Let's see how it came over. It's not assigned, so I might work through and make sure the assignee is coming through. But as you can see, we actually don't need a skill of create work item. It did it on its own. And oftentimes I feel like when you don't add a skill, the results are just better. For some reason, maybe that will change in the future, but I've spent hours trying to figure out what's wrong with an agent just to remove all the skills and run it, and then it finally ends up working for whatever reason. Hey, real quick. Every company has goals, and every company has tools like Jira. But almost every company is missing the middle. This is a system that connects your goals to the work your team actually does every single day. And without it, you end up chasing updates, sitting through status meetings, and wondering where projects actually stand. We call this missing middle the execution layer. And I recorded a free 90-second breakdown that shows you how the grid operating system fixes this missing middle. Links in the description below, and back to the video.